all every day, B. We gon' hold the line. Who'da thought that these seeds would be so divine? Purging out the thorny kind who call themselves upright. Well, I'ma just call them Pinocchios. Lord knows he's lying, don't kid yourself. We the only ones you look at still on the block with no pushback and crushing doctors with book bags. Counterattack. Your balancing act actually looks bad, please. I can't believe that y'all down to combat for foot tags we need every day, all year, not just sometimes. No waking up to the new moon to fall asleep to the sunrise and hocus pocus to young minds. But what I did learn is most Judas tend to run out of juice. Your fruits will get sun-dried, a detriment. We haven't been on excellence. And attribute all your efforts to decadence, all your pessimism to pestilence. You sick and embarrassing, you will be made irrelevant. So we won't give you no hand claps
for the ones who fall before the last hour, who entrusted with the watchman tower, abandoned the garrison, didn't consider their power, who void of foresight and lack visual prowess. Students trying to get more sight, prudence, temperance, knowledge, who saw the bigger picture but still managed to crop it. They meddle with their sins and they pushing much anecdotes. The adventure getting grim, got more poisons than antidotes. Many kids like them we're trying to catch the rhythm. Algorithm been laid out. You rebel witches is played out. Offended little ones, now you drowning within the sea bounds. Whole world is gonna see now. You gonna see now. You seem free now. You're dwelling in the pit, shaking boots. You on the fridge. You better learn to keep your wits and hold the line in this blitz. We gonna see though if you pushing for the 12 or is you pushing for the ego.
You're not a threat, you just a hopping step from a Baphomet. Chucking up the deuces to pop a squat, this is not your rest. The whole world watching, it's not a test. We broadcast from the four corners, can't stop the quest. We make it haste now, chase we don't chase down. The wicked ones flee when the feathers flutter the fake out. Ridiculous rhetoric like it's better to flake now. Or under the guise that they bucking up at a breakdown.
And they make it seem like guiles an honorable trait now. Ain't got us wondering how they used to be on blocks pushing doctrine out. You avoiding lines like it's hopscotch in a melting pot. When that fire came, you managed to stop, drop, and tumble out. On all that matters, you cats actually acrobats. How you managed to bounce back was backbiting, turn actors. A below average attempt to stifle the acts of the Baptists. When you fight against God, all that awaits you is caskets. Bastards.
Are you ready to be heard?
Yeah. Dream team.
Dream team.
Vanjabites in our area. Okay. 100 to my last day. Before I hit the streets, always gotta pray. Run up to the spot, wanna block with the work non-stop. Make it hot all day, let's spray. Might be a one-way trip. Yeah. Me and my brothers at the strip. Warfare. Strapped up, came up out the whip. Then we marched to the spot on the block, let it rip. No fear, dog, get a grip. Might be a one-way trip. Yeah. Strapped up, came up out the whip. Then we marched to the spot on the block, let it rip.
I don't need a mic, I need a reader. Deep the block leader. We gon' put it down, no line, no need to. Shout out to the teachers. 2-man camp bringing Easter. Call it what you want. You gon' feel the heat out of Peter. For heretic approach, we gon' beat them. That's fall in line. Cherish turn the heat up on the meter. Think it's nothing, you ain't running from the reaper. Your mama ain't either. Or Big Bone Sheila. Running behind the woman, he gon' turn your ass to cedar. Bang, bang with it, if you need it, we gon' feed you. Ain't nothing to get instructions from the leaders. Ready for a change? Bring it to the people. Brothers standing bold, perfect goal with no equals. Hold the damn line, that's a sign of a Hebrew. Ain't worried about his life, ready to die for this kingdom, believe him.
Might be a one-way trip. Yeah. Me and my brothers at the strip. Warfare. Strapped up, came up out the whip. Then we marched to the spot on the block, let it rip. No fear, dog, get a grip. Might be a one-way trip. Yeah. Strapped up, came up out the whip. Then we marched to the spot on the block, let it rip. I miss a day, then I probably feel away. Rolling with the pack, so you know we on the way. Face like rocks, and the squad never play. And we got the block in a chokehold for the day. City gon' flood, cause we coming with the wave. Shout out to the elders for the way y'all pay. Yeah. Double honors for the hard work getting gave. Always kept the real from the start to the grave. NY, Detroit, shout out to the A. Yeah. Game plan, then we run a blitz where you stay. Yeah. Worldwide, never really think small ways. King for the sheep, and you dogs gotta pay. Yeah. Elohim said he got something for the rats. Wow. Loyal to the cause, and I can't stand a rat. Benjavice going hard, yeah, we push it to the max. In a spiritual bank, we be laying up stacks. Might be be a one-way trip. Yeah, me and my brothers at the strip. Warfare, strapped up, came up out the whip. Then we marched a block, let it rip. No fear, dog, get a grip. Might be a one-way trip. Yeah, strapped up, came up out the whip. Then we marched a block, let it rip.
Defender of the faith, man, anything goes. It's my daughter and my son, tell them kingdom is the goal. No more sorrow, city make out a goal. Timeless is the truth, even though we grow old. Man, I risk everything just to save one soul. My treasure in a heaven, beer, silver and gold. This are the dream team, I saw we big and we bold. Straight to the end, and you know we not fool.
Your activism needs to be about keeping these commandments. This is not what I expected out of them. The true Bible, the book about following.
Right. The Most High has given us guidance on what we need to do.
It's Officer Eli. It's Officer Nashon. Officer Ezekiel.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Most High in Christ bless you all. Happy prep day as we are preparing for the Sabbath. We're in part 2 of our series. Actually, it's been a few weeks since I did the first part of this particular topic. The name of this particular episode is The Media, Social Media, PATV, which is Public Access Television, and then gagged. Gag meaning the inability to speak. Okay, like when you would gag someone. So this is actually part 2. So part 1 was a few weeks ago. So if you want to get want to kind of get the background on where we're going, you can refer to part 1. Part 1, we open up. So now we're in part 2. And again, I want to just briefly mention, because I had made some statements in the first episode, that I wanted to bring out some Israelite history that's in this country from back in the early 90s. And my intention of showing this is not to illuminate anyone from that era, meaning in the old school, back in the 90s, where myself and Bishop and others come from, but rather to clearly illustrate how the truth of the Bible is increasingly being silenced through mainstream media. And that's the point of why I wanted to bring out situations before then. Now, some of the information that I'm going to bring out are people that we were in the school together. So you may recognize a couple of people one of the brothers on the panel. You recognize him, okay? The people in this country, the people born in this country, are said to be free, but this freedom is curtailed and channeled through the constraints of an oppressive reality that mainstreams false history and keeps the masses asleep to the truth, particularly the so-called Negroes, the Native American Indians, and Hispanics. That's this media is about keeping truth suppressed because it's built on violence. This country is built on violence. So if any of the slaves are going to speak up, that's going to bring a problem to the oppressor. So there must be some kind of sophisticated way of pretending to be a democracy and acting as if they are a melting pot, so to speak. But meanwhile, the people that are boiling in the pot are crying, and they are not really allowed to speak, because if their cries reach too many ears, it could change the perception of this good old melting pot. All hands and everybody getting together, democracy, all that stuff is in jeopardy when truth comes up. So there's always there always has to be a model. There always have to be some kind of program to keep truth suppressed. Okay, so as I continue on, so now we have the right that is said to be free or have free speech, and which is to allow dissenting voices against an oppressive government and a system. This is what the Declaration of Independence is said to be about. The Declaration of Independence was a document that was drawn up for the by the quote unquote founding fathers and those that took the land and this and that and the other, and it was designed basically to be a declaration of independence from the British. That's where it really come from. But within that Declaration of Independence, there were certain stipulations in there that said that if this same government became tyrannical against the inhabitants, it is their duty to rise up and abolish that government. So those kinds of tenets within the roots of the documents is what a lot of people that not even Israel, because this has nothing to do with us, and I'm gonna definitely make that distinction. When I talk about the Declaration of Independence, I'm talking about white folks, the people that actually they stole it, this is theirs, and they're talking about making sure that this society, the people that robbed and stole it, is also going to be fair to the ordinary quote unquote citizens, which still doesn't apply to us. We're the denizens, we're the slaves, so they don't really equate those kinds of rights to us. But to them, they're saying, well, wait a minute, this is our country too. And how in the world you're going to do all of this to us? So now that you're trying to take away everything from us, we have the right, according to the Declaration of Independence, to fight against that, because you're supposed to be looking out for us, because we are the people, so to speak. But again, that does not pertain to us. So like I said, we have, this is understood, this is supposed to be where free speech comes from, and it is to allow dissenting voices against oppression. And this is what the Declaration of Independence was supposed to be about. But that's not entirely true for those of us who were brought here and changed during slavery. Neither does this apply to the Native American Indians. Neither does it apply to the so-called Hispanics and our brothers, Native American Indians, who are on so-called reservations in the bathroom of their own house. They can't even speak. Right. So this whole thing about democracy and freedom of speech and all of that has truly been gagged, because the real people who really need to speak up and be able to really speak up against the wrongful oppression and the wrongful dealings and the murder of their people, they need to be able to speak up. But if they do speak up and too many ears get to hearing about that, it may cause a problem to this facade of this being a melting pot and all the rest of it. But again, I wanted to go back to what I started out with when I was talking about that I wanted to bring up some Israelite history in this country that goes back to the early 90s. This was, some of you may have seen this program. You probably remember this talk show host by the name of Montel Williams. Montel Williams, back in the 90s, was pretty prominent on the television circuit. And he actually had a show, and he wanted to bring what he had called hate groups. So he had gotten somebody from the skinheads, he got some other guy, and then he brought on Israelites. And he brought on one of the members from the school that we were associated with back then. And he came on to the show. Now, the reason why I'm bringing him up, again, because like I said, this is not to illuminate him or anything that's connected with what people may deem as violent or anything like that. I'm only doing this to show you how the media was focused on turning turning that situation into something that they could use to fulfill their agenda of making us a hate group. Okay, let's play the clip. Let's play the clip. Oh yeah, well we're gonna get this. We're gonna get this. Yeah. Let's bring this up first before we play the clip. Thank you, Captain. Let's get this out the way. Okay.
Shalom, everybody. Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1, King James Version.
So it's important for us to bring this out because this is exactly what we mean. And we're not reading this as just a technicality. We really believe in this. We don't advocate any kind of violence or anything that juxtapose the laws of the land. And this is also reflected in the book of Romans, the 13th chapter, obey the powers that be. So we do adhere to these things. So we've had many conversations and many classes that dealt with that. But so we are not about violence. And believe it or not, the brother is going to actually mention that. He's going to say that in so many words. But my reason for playing this is to show you how that got overshadowed. And they constantly, Montel and all of the rest of the media constantly wanted to make this a hate group type of thing. Let's play it.
Let me bring this up. First of all, we're not a hate group. First of all, listen.
Pause it. You notice how Montel dropped his head.
Right.
Montel dropped his head because he said, you basically messed up my whole theme. My whole point of having you here and having a representative of the KKK skinheads or whatever is to show opposing sides, like we're the mirror opposite of the KKK, like we're the mirror opposite of hate groups that burn and torture and rape and pillage and do all kinds. We're not that at all. So the brother that was on the panel, he said, wait a minute, I'm seeing which way this thing is going. He said, y'all are trying to make this into a hate group, like a black supremacy group against white supremacy. He said, hold it, stop. That's basically what his actions were. He was making the point that, listen, we're not a hate group. We are a spiritual group. We are the Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. That's the point that he was making. So Montel dropped his head, but he said, because this is out of the format of where I wanted this to go. Okay, play on.
Listen. We're a spiritual group, okay? We're the Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of, okay? The Most High made the races to hate, okay? The Most High separated races. If he wanted everybody the same, he would make everybody look the same. He's the one that's racist.
Okay, so y'all saw that. So that got pushed off to the side. They didn't want to deal with the fact of what he was actually, the point that he was making. Okay. Now go to the next clip. I want y'all to hear this. Listen carefully. Back it up. I want y'all to hear especially the beginning parts of what he said. There's a couple more. Get all of it in the beginning. Okay. All right. Hit it.
What do you plan on, just a war forever? Nah, what you have ever.
So stop, because I'm going to hold it. Stop, because we want to play that again. The question was, because it was talking about blacks and whites, because again, he's trying to bring it back to blacks fighting whites and race war and all of this other stuff. Yeah. And he's, and the brother is going into, and he's saying that, he said, no, Montel said, so what is it? Did you want a war forever? I want you to listen to his response. I want you to listen to the brother's response. Back it up. Let's get it again. Just listen to Montel's question, because he's seemingly he's bringing it out saying that we're advocating for some kind of war against the nations, like race war and all that. That's not what we're talking about. Okay. Now, I ain't going to get into what was then. I'm talking about what's now. But even then, he even makes the point that that's not the epitome of what we're teaching. Let me put it that way. Go ahead. Play it again. Hit it. Listen.
What do you plan on, just a war forever? Nah, what you have
Forever.
Listen, no. We want peace. But to get peace, you got to go through war. Okay, now, the Most High is bringing a war. Look what's going on.
Stop. That's all I wanted. I don't even need nothing else.
That's a good point.
The point that he made is said, listen, we want peace, but you won't never hear that. You will never hear the media say that the Israelites want peace. The mere fact that we're trying to get our people off of dope, stop them from beating up their women, committing crimes, even crimes against white folks. We're against all of that, killing each other, robbing and raping. We're trying to stop all of that because that's what the Bible says. We're trying to deal with what the Bible says. That's what makes this spiritual group is the group. It ain't no hate group. It ain't some made up group. It ain't some manufactured group of just sitting together talking about like some kind of liberation army or something. We are the Israelites that teach the Bible, teach the laws of the Bible. That's what we're talking about. So when the brother said that, he said, listen, we want peace. But to get the peace, you got to go through a war. That's God that says that. But the actuality, we want peace. All of us want peace, but we're not going to get the peace until crimes have been dealt with, until judgments have been dealt with. So we have to go through the war, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking to get through all of that because eventually we want to get to the peace that the Lord has set up for this whole planet Earth. That's what we want. So I just wanted to bring those points out. Anything y'all have to say on that, or y'all want to jump in? Because I wanted to make those points because a lot of people are trying to misconstrue what we're doing as to be shunted into some hate group crap, and that's not what we're about.
Just the mere fact that we go on our jobs or we go about our day-to-day lives dealing with Esau, and being cordial with them, show you. I mean, yeah, of course we want peace. We can't survive in this land without peace.
Exactly. Like, because we used to get questions like, "So what if it said what if you see a white person shot on the street or something? Would you call an ambulance and all?" Of course we would.
Of course.
So
like what kind of question is that?
But they think that they think that the quote unquote hate doctrine is so. Oh no, you white. You just get no. That's not what we're talking about. That's not obeying the laws that the Bible. That's not obeying the powers that be that the Most High set up. Let me say that again. That's not obeying the powers that be that God Himself has set up. Okay, so I just wanted to lay that foundation down. But at the same time, while we're trying to bring out because the Most High is going to make this successful. Rather, it's us literally, but the Most High is going to have this program to get out, regardless if it's me particular, or you or whatever. The Most High's word is going to flow regardless. Okay, and the brother also said that on the program. So, what the real? Yeah,
can I give you an example?
Sure.
Okay,
yes.
I was riding down the street and so it's this old Edomite that was in front of me. Okay. I don't know how she did it, but she swerved all the way off the road and went to the other lane and hit a telephone pole and almost cracked it in two, almost fell down on her.
Right.
And, I just witnessed that, so I turned around and said, what happened to her?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I went out and seen how she all right, because other people got out the car.
Right.
Okay. She all right? Okay. I just jumped back in the car.
Right. Yeah. Hey, we got to be careful too, because they be like, hell, you caused her. She looked at your, she looked at your black face. And it scared her. She was terrified and she flipped over and it's your fault. She said it's your fault. Now you're going to jail. So Deke, so I have to,
Deke,
I had to throw a little bit of that in there, but go ahead.
What they're trying to say, Deke, is because we know who our enemies are, now we lost our humanity.
Exactly.
That's what they're trying to say.
And the humanity, so we can understand that humanity ain't so much what they're talking about in this Bible. I mean, in this society, it is according to the Bible. Let's get that. Give me that. I talked about it last week, but I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about because some people may consider this kind of speech soft. Give me Luke, what is it? Luke 11? No, Luke 16. You know what I want? The mammon. Luke 16. I read it last week, but this is an example. Luke 16. Luke 16. I think it is Luke 16, and I think like the 11th verse. You got it? Luke 16.
Is
it Luke 12? The mammon make.
I thought it was in Luke.
I'm in the wrong book. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is Luke.
Yeah,
Come on now.
My bad, D.
Don't make me look crazy now.
Nah, that's me.
I already got enough against me already.
16 and 9, right?
Shoot. No, just start where I want. Go read it.
11. Yes, it's 16. I was in Matthew. My bad.
Yeah.
Luke chapter 16 and verse 11.
We read 9 last week. I know that,
9.
but I want to get to the point. Read that.
Luke chapter 16 verse 11. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon.
This is the unrighteous mammon. That's this world here. Okay, we are to be faithful in this manner. No, give me the 10th verse. You might be right, Captain. I might want to start with 9, but I ain't sure yet.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much.
Right. Go ahead.
And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much.
Read it again.
He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much.
So, like I explained this last time we was on this program dealing with this subject. If you don't even know how to keep your own apartment clean, how you got money to have a big mansion, you're going to bring the mess right into that. Go ahead.
He that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much.
Read.
If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon.
This is the verse that I wanted.
Who will commit to your trust?
If you have not read 11 again.
If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon.
Faithful means true to the Bible. That's what it's talking about. Read it again.
If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon.
Let's find out exactly what that means, okay? Because the scriptures say thou shalt not steal. Don't they have laws in this land that said thou shalt not steal? Yes, thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not murder. These are what is known as judicial laws. I just use those basic ones for an example, okay? If we can't even be faithful in terms of keeping those underneath somebody else's rule, what's going to happen when we get our own rule? And we have the power to bring forth what we supposed to be about. If you haven't been faithful in something that belongs to somebody else, how much more faithful are we going to be in our own when there's nothing impeding our wickedness that will stop it? Okay, there's not. In other words, now when you read Romans 13, it talks about the penalties that come when you break those laws. Okay, in our own kingdom, we would, and if you're thinking in terms of how this is written, in your own kingdom, you would be free to do those things, but not really, because the Lord ain't gonna have it. But I'm just saying, in the context of what we're reading and the understanding, it's saying that if you're not even, you're restricted from being evil now. So you should be the more ready to not be evil. So that when you get your own, you'll definitely know how to take care of it.
Right.
Read 11 again.
Luke chapter 16 and verse 11. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit?
The unrighteous mammon is where we're at now. Go ahead.
Who will commit to your trust the true riches?
Who will give you your own planet to run? The Most High said, I'm not going to give it to you, because you will be even worse. If you don't even know how to act in somebody else's kingdom, when I give you your own, you just going to bring your dirty diapers and doodle all over the hallway. I'm just using these because, you see these things in the projects and all of that.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. And if ye have not...
You're in the elevator, you're on the stairs. Unbelievable. Go ahead.
And if ye have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own?
That's the point right there. So we don't even know how to behave in this society here. How in the world is the Most High going to set us up in our own society? So this is the code that we're following. We're not following the code just for political reasons or anything like what I was talking about earlier. What was the part that we was talking about earlier? Where was we at before? We was talking about, I'm trying to bring my thought back on why I went here.
What was we at?
I was talking about something. Huh?
The video?
No. What was it? No. Anyway, well, I was talking about us.
We was talking about how the you said that how they think we like
right like the woman that
ran out the road,
right, that kind of stuff. Right. So in a case like that, we're not being nice for the sake of just trying to look good. We're being nice because of the Bible tells us to do this way. And when I say nice, I mean according to the scriptures. Okay, like I said, this ain't no soft stuff. Somebody go upside your head, you go upside the head too. Don't take no BS.
But
So
us
I
as a
ain't
people,
trying to say nothing crazy.
us as a people, deep, we are a peaceful people. That's in our spirit.
Right,
We don't.
exactly.
We ain't come
and
trying to jump
the
on
nations,
nobody.
and the nations know that. But again, it goes back to the media's attempt to sully us
Right.
into some kind of violent. Like I said,
Right.
the woman ran off the road because she saw your black face. And that's in the news media. She saw she saw a mean black man, but and it just horrified her.
Right.
You know, and skids and flashbacks of when she was raped. You know,
Right.
stuff like that.
Right,
you know?
right.
And it's easy for
Next
them.
thing you know, you're answering questions.
Right.
You know,
But it's easy for them to shine the light on us and not turn the light on themselves.
Right,
you know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Mhm.
You know, always say, the scripture say, well, you looking at that brother got that mote in his eye, but then you got this big beam through yours. You know, that's why I always see Esau always trying to deflect and throw the light on us, the ones that trying to do righteous. You
Exactly.
know, living in the unrighteous in the unrighteousness of mammon. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes we too nice.
Like we can't be trusted.
Right. Now I know, like I said, I'm using the word nice and all of that, and people think it's talking about like laying down your body in the street, let people walk over it. That's not what I mean. I'm just for lack of the word that I really want to use, righteousness is what I'm talking about. It's about us being righteous. Righteousness is when we apply the laws of God to every situation that we encounter. So that's the point.
Right.
Okay. Give me my next clip. My next clip of the videos that I sent you. Not this. I wanted to go to the third video that I sent you. Yes, don't play it yet. Now, again, this is another example of truth being crushed to the earth, meaning that they don't want the facts to come out. This was a program, this was a show around the same era. Ricky Lake, okay, she had this reverend on her show called Reverend Phelps, okay, and Reverend Phelps had a disciple, little young white boy that was with him, because what was happening is, Reverend, a lot of people probably don't know who this man is. Reverend Phelps was the guy that was talking about turn or burn. America is if the way he would say it, if the fags don't, that's him. I'm quoting him, so nobody don't try to put us into put us in a category. But he said if they don't turn, the America gonna burn and all this other stuff. So he's been on the rampage all over the country back then. And he was really, he basically saw the decadence of this country. That's basically what his MO was. And he was trying to reverse that through preaching the Bible. But the problem is he don't know the Bible at all. Okay. But while Ricky Lake brought him to the show, Ricky Lake was basically trying to get the audience against him. And they were attacking him, tearing him up. Okay, saying that he's not with the times, he doesn't understand him and his red, white, and blue sweatbands and all kind of stuff. So he was basically like a Trump supporter back then, and America was the audience. So they was tearing him up. But his white boy disciple,
not that one, did.
The white boy disciple said, "I had enough of y'all dealing with my mentor," and he lashed out. Because it was, just let it play. Just let it play. Just let it play. Let it play. Come on now.
Oh, praises. Here we go.
To say is that I noticed you took a lot of time and selectively red, white, and blue. What I also noticed is that although you've taken a lot of time with your wardrobe, it does not. Your views do not reflect. Your views do not reflect the American public.
Now I want y'all to hold it, pause it. Get me back to the scene where you see the whole panel. I want to make a statement about this. Me and Bishop saw this a long time ago. He probably, if he sees this, he knows. He already knows what's happening. You see the man, the black man sitting there with the black on. He is a homosexual. I mean, that was his thing, and he was proud of it. And the red, white, and blue Reverend Phelps was trying to tell him, you got to turn or you gonna burn. And he was telling them the Lord is not going to have any mercy on you, this and that and the other, those kinds of things. So the audience was backing him up. Okay, is the sound low? I'm hearing that the sound is low because I was about to ask that question earlier. It sounded like the slides were okay. We're good. All right. So this is a case where the white man with the red, white, and blue, Reverend Phelps, he's basically mad that his country is going to hell. That's basically his point. And he's against everything that seems to send his country that way, including this black man sitting next to him. Okay. So now his student is the white boy on the side with the shirt and tie on. He gonna let it loose because he's tired of his mentor just getting mistreated by these people. I'm tired of it.
Oh boy.
Okay, now listen to what he gonna say.
Bring it out.
Hit it.
Reflect the American public, and it is
Please, we're giving you a chance to talk. Please let our people in the audience speak as
What
well.
I'm wearing in sweatbands.
She's getting to her point.
I mean,
If you
this
would
is
just
getting to the
listen.
level of the absurd.
You're not
letting her
listening,
talk that
Reverend.
way.
Reverend. Excuse me, Reverend. We are listening to you. We are trying to learn from you. We want to learn what you believe.
When you're losing the argument on the merits, then you resort to silliness, like talking about the color of sweatbands.
She's getting to her point. If you would just listen.
Yes, Reverend. The point is that you are advocating hate, and God does not advocate hate.
And how many
John
times?
3:16 says, "So God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten
many
Son,
more times
that
you wanna make that
whosoever believeth on Him should not perish, but have everlasting life."
Now, basically, pause it right there. Once they do that, the John 3:16, the applause signs lit up. You got to know what happened in the background. The applause signs lit up. People started jumping. They basically became the big black speaker that just drowned out everything. We're going to drown you in Christianity. That's basically what was happening there. But keep watching now. You see how excited the people are? Yeah. Let's see them come back from this. Watch this. Here we go. Because that white boy got mad.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I got something for him right there.
There we go.
You want to make that silly point.
Talking now.
She don't
She done felt the power.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
She felt the power.
Yeah, I gotta speak now.
She's I got a platform. Let me get in on this.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Here we go.
Yeah, I got something for him right
Now, how
there.
many more times you want to make that silly point?
Talking now.
If you're going to go from one to the other, you're going to go from one to the other, letting some loudmouth threaten
You need
people.
to get a life.
You get from
Okay?
one to
You need
the
to
other.
get a life for your own.
Man
And
like
stop
that.
worrying about gay people.
How old
You
are you? When you let two of them go off,
Here you go now.
road talk without letting us respond. Let me say something.
Here we go.
They are repeating themselves.
Here it comes
Can
now.
we elevate this dialogue a little bit?
Excuse me, Charles. Please, audience, let's just try to give them Charles.
Now pause it now. They had no idea what he was going to say.
Right.
They don't want reverends. They don't want the white Phelps to speak because he was getting ready to blast them. Yeah, he said so. Let's divert it to the student. Let's see what the student going to say.
Here we go.
Come on.
Lord have mercy. This is
Young lady over here, what do you do with Romans 9:13 that says, "As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I not disliked, not his sins disliked, but hated." He hated Esau. God hates. And to you, you have no room to talk about respect. Talking to a 63-year-old man like a
Now stop.
Yeah, boy, he hung himself.
Yeah, he hung himself.
Stop. That white boy was correct.
He was on point.
He was on point. The problem is he didn't realize that was him.
Right.
Now, what was amazing about that is that that's not going to get amplified too much.
Right.
Because I had to search high and low. I actually had this on tape. I actually had this recorded. I couldn't find the tape, so that's one tape that I couldn't find. So I had to search all the brothers. I went through a whole bevy of brothers, and they finally sent me to this video. So I know it's probably going to disappear after this.
Yeah.
So
I think Officer Rayuel even had a little,
exactly.
He remembered it.
So that's how we able to bring it to you now. But that's the deal. So you heard what that boy said. He said, "Esau have I hated." Okay, but so that went out through all the airwaves. So that stopped. So so now that we done got that in, let's get back to our program, because the point that I wanted to get to is that the media is going to gag that truth, even though the Edomite said it. That was correct with what he said. And that doesn't make us a hate group, by the way. That doesn't make us, by reading the Bible, that doesn't make us a hate group. Like I pointed out last week. He said it. He said it. And the Bible that he quoted, he gave you the scripture and all. He said, "What do you do with Romans 9:13?"
That's what he said.
And he broke it down.
He said God
He
hates.
he said not disliked, not the sins, not disagree. He broke it down. He wanted to make sure that y'all understood what he meant. So why you mad at us?
Right.
Okay, no problem.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
So this is another one of those situations where the major media, perhaps the people on the show didn't even realize what was happening because they allowed that to get out. Like I said, I always used to had a habit of just keeping the tape running because sometimes those people on the controls might fall asleep and they might let some stuff get out.
Right.
But this is the kind of game you got to play. This is the kind of game we got to play when people are trying to hide truth. Okay, because to hide facts is work. Is you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Because you can have a whole bed of lies, and one truth could come and destroy it all.
Right.
So you have to make sure it's like whack-a-mole. A bit of truth here, you got to run over there and get it before somebody find out about it. So sometimes they might miss, and a little bit of truth slide out there.
Right.
And this is the beauty of truth. It's just like that tale I'm gonna read about in a little while. That deals with the tyrant that went to Hispaniola. Let's see where I want to go. Where I want to go from here. Y'all got anything I want to say before I move on to my next point? Because I'm gonna make a statement about y'all want to say something? Because I'm getting my thought.
good, D.
Y'all good? Okay. Right now in the media. Now that was in the 90s. Let's come on back to 2021. You have a situation that's going on now where Trump is the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I never used to say Donald J. But they put it all in there to make sure they said it's him. We want him, not just Donald Trump, because that might be several other people.
Right.
But Donald J. Trump, blah blah blah. So they want him. He's the demon, this and that and the other, as if the rest of them are liberals, and you know what the scriptures say about that. But anyway, they're going after him hard. Okay, and with the impeachment trial, they're trying to impeach him, and his defense team, they're on. As a matter of fact, it's live right now. His defense team is basically making an argument that this whole impeachment thing was designed to crush dissenting voices. That's basically what he's saying. Okay, if you're gonna read between the lines, that's what they're saying, and I'm gonna point out to the reason why I'm saying that is because by him trashing the media, that he's going after the media, he's calling the media fake news, this and that and the other. What that's doing, that's causing more people to not trust the news. And if they're not trusting the news, they at the same time they're not trusting the brainwashing medium that conforms people, that socially conforms people. Let me put it that way. That socially conforms people. The major media is really a weapon of the oppressor. It is used to turn the minds of people around, to shape their thinking so that they could basically become docile in terms of fighting against oppression and speaking up and raising your voice of dissent against oppression. That's what it's about. Being that I said that, because like I said, that's going on in the media now. I want you to turn to the screen. I'm gonna put up a video, and I want to show you something. We're gonna play this video. The name of this video is called "Social Conformity." Okay, brain games. Okay. One of the captains that sent this to me, we was having a discussion the other day, and I found it fascinating. But because we were talking about it, he said, by the way, there's a video on that. And boom, he showed it to me, and I said, yeah, I got to bring this out. So open it up, let them hear this thing. I want y'all to pay attention to how people's brains, how people thinking is shaped. Like when the scriptures say, as a man thinketh, so is he. If you get to change people's minds, that's what the media does. That's the reason why I talked about it being the major media. The major media is the main monster that works against what social media was supposed to be about. Social media was supposed to be about an avenue where the social society can be able to speak about things unopposed or uninhabited by major media, and especially public access television. That was supposed to be the soapbox of the square, so to speak, to allow the little man to have something to be able to speak about the injustices that big corporation is doing to him. or her. Okay, so let's play this thing here. Social conformity, brain games. Come on, watch this.
To answer that question, we set up a hidden camera experiment to see if this woman would stand up at the sound of this tone, simply because everyone else is. You might be thinking...
Pause it. I want to say something. What y'all looking at this is actually a social experiment. This is staged. Everybody in the room is part of this, as a part of this experiment, except the one girl that they had the highlight on. She doesn't know this, but everybody else in the room they know about this. This is an experiment. And years ago, I used to talk a lot about experiments that was done in this country, especially around the 60s, like the Stanford prison experiment. Also, the Stanley Milgram's experiment, obedience experiment, and there were many kinds of social experiments on how to shape the minds of people. They were doing experiments on this primarily in the 60s. Incidentally, the 60s was the time when Jake was trying to rise up. So it's a lot of dynamics going on during that time. I found it interesting that these things were going on during the same time of our rise, and at the same time, drugs was coming in. Same time, COINTELPRO was being put into place, and stuff like that. So, so back it up again. So now that y'all got a little bit of background on where this is coming from.
So these are very crafty actions that takes place.
Exactly. So as you see, the highlighted person showed on the screen before you move it. The highlighted person, she doesn't know what's going on. She's totally outside of the experiment that everybody else is a part of. That's what you're looking at. So now let's get it from the beginning. So this is like Pavlov's dog, the conditioning and response. They talked about the bell. Watch this. Listen.
To answer that question, we set up a hidden camera experiment to see if this woman would stand up at the sound of this tone, simply because everyone else is. You might be thinking you'd never go along with this. Or would you? After just 3 beeps, and without knowing why she's doing it, this woman is now conforming perfectly to the group. But what happens if we take the group away?
Elaine, please.
Now pause it for a second. I want to make a comment on something. Me and Bishop, I was with Bishop this past weekend, and we were talking about this documentary called Uncle Tom. Farewell to Uncle Tom. It's a old film that was made. I think it was made overseas, and it dealt with slavery. Very gruesome by many standards in terms of the graphics that was put in the film. But while the film was playing, they had this music that sounded like this music that we're hearing here. Right. So this upbeat music, and they put that music in that film on purpose, so that your emotions won't be too drawn into the seriousness of what you saw when you was looking at those horrible images in that film. And the film that I was speaking about, the Uncle Tom film, everything that was in the film is historically accurate. That's what they put at the end of it. It's actually on the film. It tells you that the incidents that was recorded in that film depict real history. So all of the atrocities that you saw there was the real deal, but they had this upbeat type of music so that you would not be too attached in terms of resonating with what you saw on the screen. Hence the same thing going here. They're playing this that kind of stuff there, but in reality, you really get to see how dangerous this kind of stuff is. These brain games that they've done on people. Hence, again, the media. So
the music that they're playing is to lighten the spirit
100%,
according to what's really going on, what they see.
Exactly.
And manipulate the emotions and feelings of them.
Absolutely. I remember when Roots came out. When I actually had moved down here at that time. Roots had come. I'm talking about when I was a child. And I remember Roots came out. And when Roots came out, everybody was upset. And right after that, they played some kind of Mary Poppins something right after that to lighten the people up because they knew the people, because Roots had just debuted on TV and everybody was upset. Messed up.
Yeah.
So immediately they put something on there to like overturn your feelings before you go too far into the depths, so to speak. So that's what's happening here. But in reality, what you see here is a seriously dangerous situation because it shows how a society can be led right into complete filth simply by conforming, simply by social conformity. Okay,
that's very crafty. Just before I come here to the radio show, I'm sitting on the bed getting ready for the radio show, and my wife had a little show playing, and I noticed the music was constantly soft and all emotional. And I looked at her, I said, "Why they keep playing this old soft music?
Exactly.
Let's get out of here, change this." You know?
Exactly.
It mess you up.
Exactly. And these people don't get paid no little bit of money. These people that sit behind these controls that deal with movie making and all of that, these guys get billions of dollars, get big money because they're controlling hundreds of thousands of people at a blink.
And we can see examples of that today. I'm not going to get into exactly what we see it at in the media, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But it's going on today,
right?
On a larger scale,
right? Exactly. I'm looking at the comments, and somebody brought up about the Skinner box. I was just happened to just look down, and the Skinner box. I was just telling the brothers here. I said I was going to bring that book in, B.F. Skinner, and was going to talk about his connection and all of this brainwashing and all that. But I'll talk about that perhaps on the next episode. But let's get back to this here because I want you to pay attention again as we are going through this film. Go ahead.
Okay, now she's alone. The crowd is gone and nobody is watching her except our hidden cameras. What do you think she'll do? She's now conforming to the rules of the group without them even being there.
Pause it. I want you to understand what was just said. This is the fact. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna give you a perfect example of social conformity. Watch what I'm about to say. We might catch hell for saying this. We're in the season of COVID-19. Dangerous. We're in the season and let me be the first to say, and the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, that we abide by all COVID-19 regulations and restrictions and all the rest of it. We do these things, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there. But I'm watching the social conformity. Excellent clip here because it goes to the point that I'm about to make. I'm understanding that, we have the social distancing, we have the masks and all of these things. Now, the 6 feet, such and such. You get inside your car by yourself. You have a cabin filter in the car that filters out pollen. Most cars have that. Right. Filters out pollen. So the air that you're getting with your windows up is pretty much purified to a degree. You understand? Right. You're driving in your car by yourself with a mask on. How does that work? You're so conformed. That's an example of social conformity. Right. It becomes what is it? Self-conscious. It becomes second nature. That's the word I'm looking for. Right. It becomes second nature. That's when you have truly conformed to something and don't even know why. You're sitting in the car by yourself and you're like, oh man, why am I even wearing this?
Right.
You conform to it. Now I'm gonna show you how this works in the scriptures. Let's play the rest of this, and then remember, Nashawn, I told you my scriptures, right? Yes, sir. So let's play the rest of this here. So now, the new guy comes in.
What happens when we introduce another outsider who doesn't know the rules?
Have a seat, and they'll be out in just a couple minutes. Great. Thanks so much.
What the hell? In other words, hold it. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what that look was. That look was, why are you wearing a mask in your car by yourself?
Right.
That's what that look that he gave her. That look, why are you, ain't nobody here. Why are you wearing a mask? Go ahead.
And right quick, and the receptionist didn't give any instructions or anything.
No.
Even she herself not standing
This is
up. You know?
right. This is right, because nobody told. She still doesn't know that she's part of an experiment.
Right. Lord have mercy.
Even when you check out the Stanley Milgram thing, the person who was actually the subject of it, he thought he was participating in it when he actually became the subject.
Oh wow.
The Stanley Milgram obedience experiment, but we'll talk about that another day.
Okay.
Go ahead. What? Everybody else is wearing the one in the car by themselves.
Think she'll teach the new guy what to do?
I better put my mask on too by myself.
Yeah.
Now.
We kept the cameras rolling as more unsuspecting patients arrived.
What?
And slowly but surely, what began as a random rule for this woman has now become the social norm for everyone in this waiting room.
That's the word, social norm. I want you to understand the social norm. That has become the social norm. Let me show you how this flies against the Bible.
Wow.
Let's get the scripture. Watch this.
You want Leviticus first?
Give me Deuteronomy first.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither should a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination.
Is all an abomination unto the Lord. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have cut you off. Read it again.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so.
For all that do so
are an abomination.
Are an abomination.
Unto the Lord thy God.
Unto the Lord thy God. So if a man puts on a dress and if women are wearing pants, they are an abomination unto God. That's the norm, period. That's God's norm. But what has happened? What has happened? What has happened? Society begins to make them come away from this, and they begin to leave this because they feel ostracized. That's what was happening in the room. When you back the tape up a little bit, back it up.
In other words, you get conformed to this.
But not right. You get conformed to it. But what happens is that because, as you notice, there was a group of people that was sitting in the room. There was only one outsider, the woman. Those people basically socially conditioned this one woman to follow their action without even knowing it. Without even knowing that this action is against God. Right. They don't even realize our women that's doing these things, our men that's doing these things is actually an abomination in the sight of God. But because they have been around people that's constantly socializing them, brainwashing them into making them feel like they're the outsider, going back to the man that's sitting on the couch. When the woman's like, show that picture again. Just show that. You ain't got to move just show that. When the woman first stood up, he looked at her basically, and I gave the analogy about the mask, like, why are you standing? In other words, now let's take it into what the scriptures are saying. Let's say these are two women. You can put it back on me. Let's say these are two women. One woman got pants on, and the other woman that's trying to stay is trying to stay modest got the dress on. But as she constantly sees more women in pants, they begin to put the pressure on her, like, why aren't you with the rest of us?
Right. I'm different.
Yeah, I'm different. And they feel ostracized. And this is what happens with some of our young girls when they go to these schools. I'm just showing you how this evil works. This kind of thing, and this is what was done to us through media. Through media. This is how they got our children to actually hate God's laws, to actually hate the prophets of God, bringing out the Bible. They're gonna call us a hate group, and got our people socialized as if this is really about hate, when this is really about bringing our people back to the normal, to God's norms.
Right.
Ain't no new norms, bringing them to God's norms. That's what this is about. That's what this is about, okay? But that's the point that I wanted to show here. So I know it's almost time for the break. Y'all got anything to say before we go into it?
I was just going to say, Deke, so when you open up the Bible and you start to get an understanding of the Bible, it's like that movie. Remember the movie They Live?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
You put those glasses on.
Yeah, right.
And you see the difference.
Right,
you know?
exactly. Like us. We're looking at this here and we're like, wow, we can see how the thing with the mask on in the car by yourself and all of that. You know. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying that, you know, whatever COVID restrictions they have out there, I'm not speaking against that at all. But people are not doing it for a COVID reason. They're doing it because they've been conditioned. You don't have to, you can say what you want. I know the reason why they're doing it. They're doing it because they're conditioned to do it.
Right.
They don't even realize that the cabin filters in their car is just collecting all kinds of whatever's out there. And you in your car, you're on the highway. You 40 or 50 feet away from the next person.
I can't wait to snatch that thing off.
Exactly.
But
that's the point though. We've gotten comfortable with it, socializing it, conform to it.
Right.
Well, we've made it a norm.
Right.
Just like our women have made wearing pants a norm. Just like our men have made wearing dresses a norm. Right. And those two things that I talked about as an abomination to God, we don't even care about that no more because as long as we're in with the in crowd. Right. The woman that was sitting in the chair with the lavender top on, she did not want to be ostracized. Just like your girls going to school don't want to be ostracized. Just like your brothers, your little sons and all that don't want to get caught up in smoking weed when everybody else in the classroom is doing it. He don't want to be ostracized. But our children have to be made to understand that they have to stand on this irregardless of everybody else is going off. Now give me the other one and then we can take the break. Leviticus.
Yes, sir. Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore.
That's the social conformity did that to our women. Listen now.
Lest the land fall to whoredom.
So if we allowed this social conformity to happen with our women, to cause our women to also follow the quote unquote in crowd in doing this, it brings not only detriment to her, it brings the whole land to whoredom. That's why the Bible is saying what it's saying. Read the whole thing again, and then we're going to go to the break.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore.
So this is where daughters have to be taught. They have to follow. They need to follow the laws because it's their own benefit. They have to be steadfast and resist the temptations of the society. Okay, this when they call you radical. They throw names at you like that to make you feel ostracized, to make you feel like you're by yourself.
Right.
That's the whole point behind that. Media contributes to that. Go ahead.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
And the land becomes full of wickedness. It falls to full wickedness because when the laws of God are spiritual and they have a spiritual effect. When God's laws are broken in one area, they compound and they tangent into other evils. Now you got murder. Brother Negroes selling drugs, buying the Jeeps with the rims and all of that, trying to pull the girl with the big butt, all that kind of stuff. And it turns them turns to crime, selling dope, crack babies. All of these things come because of trying to get that. Because one law was broken, it tangent out, it spread it out. What was the word I always use? Exponentially spread out into so many other areas of evil in this system. That's the importance of not conforming to evil.
Dick, I want to use this example. I know we're going to go to commercial break, but if you notice, like, bigger guys like me and you, now they making it so where they got these, it fits some people, but we talking about like the jeans or the pants that the men wear. You go and try to find, somebody was complaining the other day, who tried to go in there and find a pair of pants that fit us. We got bigger thighs or legs. So now they trying to put it in a place where you can hardly find those things, and have you conform to them. That you see a big guy, he walk around wearing skinny jeans with his pants half around his.
Like when did that happen?
Right, and then I'm going to try to find some. Hey man, y'all ain't got no pants in here for me. Oh yeah, yours back there. In a sense to try to make you conform, and then to the point even try to force you.
Right.
Hey, Cat,
do that.
They got the pants that fit you in the basket. They ain't even on the rack. They got it in the basket.
Hey, Kat, you know how you slowly got conformed to wearing those tight pants? Because so many people were going to these clubs, and then they weren't letting you in the clubs unless you had on decent fitted pants.
Right, and they call that decent.
Right.
Wow.
Meanwhile, your stuff can't breathe.
Right. And also put it in the music videos. Media.
Right.
It's all form of brainwashing.
Right. Where our sisters think they supposed to dress to be sexy and conforming to, like you said, some of these celebrities and with their cleavage showing and wearing the tight, almost Catwoman suits. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
All right, brothers and sisters, we'll be back after these words. We're going into our commercial break. Stay tuned, brothers and sisters. We'll be back.
The gentrification of Chocolate City. One of DC's busiest streets, 8th Street, became the mecca of black success in the 1900s, earning the name Chocolate City. But right on the heels of the city's era of business was the civil rights movement, where blacks and Hispanics faced racial discriminations and disenfranchisement, both of which would have long-term effects. These were directly caused by the curses placed upon the children of Israel for disobeying God's commandments. The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15 says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." Guns, alcohol, and drugs like marijuana and crack cocaine flooded into the community, bringing the demise of what was formerly known as Chocolate City.
DC in the early 1990s came to be known as the murder capital of the country.
More proof of these curses can be found in the book of Hosea chapter 4, and more specifically verse 2. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood.
But again, when the new neighbor came in, you started seeing buildings that once were vacant being fixed up. You started seeing the park areas where people go out and hand the park, they started getting beautified and looking pretty.
The book of Micah chapter 2 verse 2 reads, "And they cover fields and take them by violence in houses and take them away, so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage."
It's the most intense gentrification process in the country, and it doesn't look like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. But how does this phenomenon occur, and what exactly does this process look like?
Stood at over 70%, earning it the nickname Chocolate City. But just 45 years later, that number dropped to 48.3%.
A prophecy in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 43 and 44 says, "The stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low." An example of this scripture can be shown in the district's income earnings, where black and Latino workers continue to earn significantly less than whites within the city. Much like bills and property taxes, DC's rent and eviction rates increase. However, lease renewals and property repairs decrease according to the studies. The city's monthly rent averaged at $443 in 1980, but in 2019, that average increased to $2,000 to $3,000 or more.
At the effort to silence the music blasting from speakers right outside of a phone store next to Howard University. So they're planning a protest tonight, and they're blaming gentrifiers for the noise complaints. As Bruce Lesham reports, those tunes are part of a long-time tradition.
It's blasted outside the phone store at the busy. Who would have thought you could get sued for playing go-go music?
The guy, people were walking their dogs on Howard's Yard.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the beginning of it. Don't UBC event, which was Mochella this time with Backyard. So we was on our third one. So everybody know, the real gonna survive. You know what I'm saying? They ain't call it Chocolate City for nothing. Regardless of how the percentages are shifting, it's people that grew up, lost people, lost friends, lost parents, lost money.
Not only built their houses from scratch here, but they built the whole community. They built churches, they built schools.
As we take a look back into the scriptures, one specific verse in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 30 reads, "And thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. This gives further proof that the blacks in Chocolate City are the people that the Bible speaks of. The way of living for poor black DCers is changing rapidly, even in the public housing sector, and many residents fear the erasure of black culture amidst the changes, causing them to pick up and find another home. But there are many who want to keep the history of Chocolate City alive, despite its destruction. Presently, there is no other city that has endured the intensity of gentrification like DC, where more than 20,000 blacks were displaced in 13 years alone. These are the people who fit the curses in Deuteronomy 28.
Serious. Ain't no laughter. And let us fight for our people and for the sanctuary. We're fighting for the hearts and minds of our people that do not yet know who they are. But we are their champions. We are their superheroes, so to speak. Believe that. We're serious. Ain't no laughter. We ain't got time for shucking and jiving. We got issues going on with the nation of Israel. Our young men are so starved for leaders. And a mother recognizes that we have no stars, that we have no leaders, that we have no superheroes. And because of that absence of an image, all kinds of psychological destruction has permeated the brains of our people.
To be honest with you, pay attention. Sons have God!
Yeah.
Us against the world, look what we deserve. War against our soul, it's a God we serve. Yeah. Us against the world, us against the world. Working for that kingdom come, no time to observe. Us against the world, dragging what we heard. Ain't no stopping this, 7,000 on reserve. Yeah. Us against the world, us against the world. Us against the world, us against the world.
Us against the world, overcoming all the odds. We go for the judge though. Ain't salute to the God and the captain of the host. The angels cut world. It's a war for your soul. Army of the living God. They see us from border. They do the formation with boots on the ground.
All praise to the Most High. We're back, brothers and sisters. We are back. Let's get right into it. I was taking some, paying attention to the commercials a little bit, and it appears that what you were saying, Officer Iuic, about that. This is a new commercial. I wasn't familiar with it.
They was going into how Esau, how they gentrification. So
Okay.
basically, back in 1971. 1970, it was 71% black in D.C.
Mhm.
Now we get up to 2019, 20, and 21. Now it's at 48% because they raised up the rent prices there.
Okay, so they're pushing
right.
Jake out. So
Right.
okay, I
And
get it. I get
in
it.
1980, rent price was around $400. Now you can come up to date is $2,000 to $3,000.
That's interesting. That's a show in itself. I gotta go back and look at that video to get
So they can't afford to live there no more.
lot of nuggets in there. That reminds me of a book a subject in a book called Derelict's Paradise, and I think it dealt with Detroit, the same thing that was going on in sections of Detroit. Where certain policies came through to push Jake out, and then Esau was coming and buying the property up cheap, and then the next thing you know, Jake is out, and then they read it.
And
So
the same
I'm
thing,
gonna check that out.
The
then.
same thing is going on, in all the major, especially the major black cities across the country. And they said D.C. was the hardest hit one. That's why it was just up there. Yeah.
Wow. Well, in other words, Negro removal.
Right. And then one time it was called Chocolate City.
Right, right. Chocolate City. Check that out. And herbal removal, and before that it was Indian removal.
Right.
All those kinds of policies. The Trail of Tears.
They got
and
their
all
ways
that,
to get you out of there.
Right. Exactly. And it's amazing how organized and the organized
Strategic
how education plays a part in it. Dope plays it. They allow the drugs and the crime and all. They allowed it to happen to bring the property value down. Then they push the people out. Then they go in and rebuild it. and those kinds of things. Heavy situation. That's crafty counsel. This is what we're up against, and media lends to this, and it gags voices like us and other organizations that will try to put an end to that, and because the media is their tool to do this.
A lot of studying going into that.
Oh yes, absolutely. Let's read that. I did see the scripture up on the screen. Give me Micah 2 verse 1 and 2. Let's read that.
Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands.
It is in the power of their hands. The evil that they're doing has everything to do, the majority of it has to do with their media. Read it again. Woe unto them that devise iniquity, right?
Woe unto them that devise iniquity.
They devise evil. Hold it. Devise evil. Create evil. Manufacture evil. Manufacture a campaign against truth.
That's a heavy word, right?
Yeah,
Devise.
Devise. They create it, manufacture it, socially conform people to be against truth.
If it don't exist, we're gonna bring it to existence.
Exactly, that kind of thing. So that's what they're talking about. We're gonna manufacture. We're gonna manufacture a label for you. You just wear that label while we continue to run the world in evil. Read it again.
Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
They work evil in their sleep. Okay, go ahead.
When the morning is light, they practice it, because
it is in the power of their hands.
It is in the power of their hands.
Because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Read on.
And they covet fields.
They take lands. That's what that means. They covet fields. They take lands. Go ahead.
And they covet fields and take them by violence.
And they killed the Native American Indians. That's why I was saying earlier, they put them in the bathroom of their own house, but they can't even come out in the rest of their house and own nothing. Okay, and they're gonna call it they're reserved to be in the bathroom of their own house. The whole house belonged to them, the yard and everything, but they can only live in the bathroom. Reservation, you're reserved to the bathroom, and you're gonna tell us about truth and justice and swearing in on the Bible and all that other stuff. The Lord got to bring judgment to the system. Okay, read.
And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house.
They oppress a man in his own house. That's what they've done to the whole nation of Israel. They oppressed us all. Go ahead.
Even a man in his heritage.
And they took our heritage away from us. Call us Negroes. Call us Indians, Hispanics, Puerto Ricans and all that. That you oppress who we really are. We're the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. But you oppress that. You won't allow that information to come out, even though it's in your books and dictionaries all out throughout this land. All in your campus libraries and all that. That information is in there. But when we teach it, you want to socially conform people to say, when you see us, you're a hate group. They see the purple and the gold. They don't even know us. Just like the woman that was sitting in the chair. She didn't even know nothing about what was going on, but all of a sudden she just following and don't even know why. You got many people that are being incited to hate what we're bringing out, hate us, don't even know us, hate us because you've been socially conformed to do that. Okay,
don't even know why.
Don't even know why. Read
Micah chapter 2 and verse 3.
Nope. Read that bottom part again. Who covered fields?
Verse 2.
Yes.
And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage.
And they took our customs. They took all of what belongs to us, and they said that belongs to these other people that they call Jews. And they relegated us to a color. You black. You're African American. You're Puerto Rican, a port of riches.
Right.
You're Saint Sunday, Santo Domingo. Madness like this. You're West Indian, West Savage. Madness. That's what they've done to us.
It says it oppresses a man and his house. Get out, go back to your country, go back to Mexico.
Right.
You're a legal alien.
Right.
We'll put a wall up on you.
Check that out. You're illegal. Wow.
Get out of here.
That's what you call some serious witchcraft. That's what we're dealing. We're dealing with a society of witchcraft. That experiment that you saw was about witchcraft. So now let me show you something. Let's get some reality. Because we just read out the Bible. It says they covet fields and they take them by violence. Okay, and oppress a man even a man and his house and his heritage. Let's zoom in on this thing here. Let's get that top paragraph. You can make that big, get it big, bring it on down. Let's get the whole, zoom in on that. Yeah, that's what. Come on, Nishan. Let's read it for him. This is out of, let me tell him where it's at. This is from the book called Puerto Rico. We should have showed the cover of it. Can we find the cover? Can I show the cover of where this is from? This book is, let's get some tabulations here. I just want to show the name of the book is Puerto Rico Flaming Resistance. It's in the group. I put it up there. It's in there. You just didn't pull it out. Now you got to go scrolling all the way back from weeks. Oh, Lord. But anyway, we're about to read some facts and truth. We're about to read some facts and truth about what we just read here. You might want to just Google it, because by the time you find it, it's just better off Googling it. Okay, Puerto Rico Flaming Resistance. Come on, brothers. Yeah, Puerto Rico Flaming Resistance. Flame and Resistance. Flame and Resistance. There it is. You just saw it. Come on, brothers. Let's click it. Right there. Show the picture. Boom. That's the book there, the second one. Click that. This is the book that we're talking about. This is the book that we're reading from. Okay? So on the page inside this book is what we're reading. We're reading about, like it says here, Puerto Rico, the flame of resistance. Now let's go back to the writing. Let's go inside the book. Let's get that page and let's zoom in on it again. Brothers and sisters, let us pay attention. Okay? It says, I'm going to read it since I can see it. I can see it pretty clear. On November 19th, 1493, Christopher Columbus and his crew landed on Borican. That's Puerto Rico, okay? Boricua. Landed on Borican. They brought the gun and the sword and the Christian cross and the Bible to the island. Now, this is where people think that the Bible is a white man's book. But what had happened was that the people have been socialized into thinking that the Bible is a white man book, but actually the Bible is the book of our fathers. Let us keep that in mind. So our people have been lied to, just like in churches. Like many of you brothers, it's a good point to mention. Many of you brothers and sisters that's currently in church now, even though they got the Bible in there, you're not being taught the Bible, which is the reason why there's so much controversy against the Israelites. Right. And they're trying their best to, again, gag this. Mm-hmm. And they recognize that social media was buffering against major media, which is why major media is mad now. Now they got SPLC and all types of committees and different groups trying to come against this truth, to gag this truth, to silence us. Go ahead.
So the problem ain't us, Deep.
No.
It's that we teaching the Bible the way it's supposed to be taught.
Exactly. That's what the problem is. So basically the people were in a stupor, were in a fog concerning the Bible, and that's what's happening here. They brought lies, even though they were holding the Bible, but they brought lies. The scripture speaks about that too. He rises with the light, but then he brings swords out, because he ain't giving you the Bible at all. He's giving you death.
Right.
Okay? Read.
I'll read it for you.
Yeah.
Pull it up. On November 19th, 1943, Christopher Columbus and his crew landed on Borican.
Mm-hmm.
They brought the gun and the sword, the Christian cross, and the Bible to the island. Columbus claimed the land for Queen Isabella of Spain.
Christopher Columbus claimed the land for Queen Isabella of Spain. Where's that in the Bible? So that's showing you that they lied. Where's that in the Bible that he was supposed to do that? Go ahead.
But I see where it said they covered fields.
Right. That's in there.
That's in there.
That's in there. Why they didn't read that to the name? Right. They didn't bring that in there.
And take them by violence.
Exactly. Yeah. That's in there.
They brought a gun and the sword.
They brought, right. Read on.
Soon Spanish conquistadors landed on Borican. They brought with them brutality.
This is what these Spaniards did. They brought with them brutality. Come on.
And
avarice. That means greed, insatiable greediness. That's what it's talking about.
What's this word right here?
Machismo.
Machismo,
meaning puffed up like killer Indian. Throw him up in the air and chop him in half with one blow. That kind of stuff.
Machismo, smallpox.
They bought smallpox
and syphilis.
They brought diseases to kill off the so-called Native American Indians. So what do they mean they brought the Bible? They brought lies. They didn't open up the Bible when they brought it. They brought it and say, listen, we come in the name of white Jesus to kill you.
And you're going to accept it.
And you're going to accept it.
Conform.
Yeah. Read.
across the Caribbean, Latin America, and what is now.
It said they brought with them brutality, avarice, machismo, smallpox, syphilis. Then it says across the Caribbean, Latin America, and what is now known as California, Arizona, and New Mexico. These are all of the places where these conquistadors, where Christopher Columbus and his horde of demons came to. It says, so when they came there, it says Spanish conquistadors. What did they do, brother?
Spanish conquistadors burned.
They burned,
tortured, crucified.
Wait a minute, they got the Bible now. They did what? Crucified,
and destroyed in their search for gold.
Did the Bible tell them to do that? No, sir. Give me what the Bible says. Hold it. The Bible that they brought in. Give me Deuteronomy 27 and 17. Since they're going to talk about they brought the Bible to the island.
Deuteronomy.
They brought the Bible over the Plymouth Rock. Yeah. Let's read.
Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 17. Cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark.
That's what the Bible says. The Bible says, cursed be he that removeth the Native American Indians off their land. But you bring in the Bible now. Go ahead.
And all the people shall say, amen.
And all the people agree with that judgment, that you are cursed because of what you did. Okay, so that's what the Most High said. So now let's go back to the writing. It says, across the Caribbean.
Across the Caribbean. Latin America.
So not only Caribbean, also in Latin America.
And what is now California.
Stay with me, brothers. We ain't going that far now. Just stay here. Read it again.
And what is now California, Arizona, and New Mexico, Spanish conquistadors burned.
They burned,
tortured, crucified, and destroyed in their search for gold.
And what they did all of this in their search for gold. Avarice, that greed that we were talking about earlier. Read.
One Mexican Indian described the Spanish quest as follows.
Read.
They lifted up the gold as if they were monkeys with expressions of joy, as if it were something for which they yearned with a great thirst. Their bodies fattened on it, and they hunger violently for it.
And they hungered violently for it. Go ahead.
They killed so many Indians.
So you want to talk about a Holocaust? You want to talk about something to be a Memorial Day? Memorialize when these things happen to you, so-called Negroes, and happen to you, so-called Native American Indians, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and all that. You talking about being on a float on so-called Thanksgiving. And this is what happened to. This is what they're celebrating. They're celebrating the fact that they chopped you up.
Right.
And you talking about some celebrating Turkey Day and all that madness. Read. They killed what?
They killed so many Indians that it made a river of blood. And the day became red because of all the blood.
That's the reality of what happened to our people. Okay, that's enough on that. So I want you to get the understanding of this is the history that has been hidden. This is the history that they are not teaching in the schools. Just imagine that. You got all of these kids going, black kids, Puerto Rican kids, students and all that, and all kinds, and in the grade schools and all. How come they're not learning this history here?
Right.
For the same reason of what we were talking about earlier, how they play the dinky music over seriousness, because they don't want you to get the reality of what happened to the people. So they give you a rinky-dink education. Meanwhile, you grow up with, and you get treated the same way. You get shot down for nothing. Drugs and dope pumped into your communities. All of this kind of evil is happening to you, and you don't even know why, because it's not being taught to you on no kind of level at all. And when somebody tries to teach it to you, it's gagged.
Right. Wow.
It's shut down. It's maligned, and it's shunted into some kind of hate group category where you're too doggone foolish to even recognize that it's a plot to keep you from learning, to keep you from waking up, to keep you in a stupor, to keep you asleep, where you're comfortably driving around in a car by yourself with a mask on, and you don't think nothing's wrong. Lord have mercy. Give me my next picture. We're still talking about being, you know what? Give me 1 Ezra 5. 1 Ezra 5, read verse 71 to 73. Okay. Yeah, we're coming to that. We're coming to these things here. We're about to come up to that now. Give me that.
1 Ezra chapter 5, verse 71, you said?
Yes, sir.
Verse 71. Then Zerubbabel and
first, am I in the right spot?
You said 1 Ezra, right?
1 Ezra 5:71.
5:71, sorry. 1 Ezra chapter 5 and verse 71. we ourselves alone will build unto the Lord of Israel, according as Cyrus, the king of Persia, have commanded us.
So this is connecting with the history in the book of Ezra, when Israel was given liberty to go back and build after Israel was released from the captivity of the Babylonians, where the Most High used King Cyrus to give us that liberty, so to speak. So we were going back to rebuild. So read.
Verse 72.
This is during the time of Nehemiah. All right. Around that time, Nehemiah. Read.
But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea, and holding them straight, hindered their building.
That's the parts that I want you to understand. The whole objective of an enemy is to hinder us from resurrecting. It's a total advantage for them to keep us in a degraded state.
SPLC.
To keep us right, SPLC, all the rest of them. It's an advantage. It's an advantage for them to keep us in a state where we can't do anything really for ourselves. To keep us in a position of constantly being exploited. That's where the nations want us to be. That's where our enemies want us to be. Read that again.
Verse 72. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea, and holding them straight.
So all of our enemies are pressing upon us to keep us, to hinder us, laying heavy upon us. They watch the so-called Negro especially. They keep a heavy watch on him. They say, "Good, see, he's prophesied in his Bible to electrify the tribes." Okay, read.
Hindered their building.
They want to hinder the building, so they want to just do things to just slow you down, just to impede your progress. Call you a hate group. Now you got to undo that lie before you can even begin building again, and just constantly throwing crap on you, and you got to keep cleaning it off rather than having free run to just rebuild. What they say, they say they care about us. They say that we are about drug rehab. We are about cleaning your people up and preventing them from going to jails and so on. We are about Planned Parenthood, and in reality, these things are designed to kill us, to destroy us, to hinder us. Read.
And by their secret plots.
Come on.
And popular persuasion.
Popular persuasion is their media. Popular persuasion is their media. Their media is what's known as their popular persuasion or social conformity. By their social conformity. Read it again.
And by their secret plots and popular persuasion.
So secret plots is also social conformity. Make our people feel like they are on the outside. You're a radical. You're an outsider. You're not included with the in crowd. Smoke this dope. Take this needle. Drink this booze. Commit this kind of fornication or whatever. Why you got to wear them long dresses? Tell our sisters that.
Tell a man,
hey,
you can put a dress on.
You can put right. But hey, I want to say this here too in terms of that. And I want to give kudos to Sister Zuriel of IUIC. She's Deacon Malachi's wife. And she has been very instrumental in bringing forth the clothing, a lot of the clothing and the designs of those beautiful skirts that a lot of the sisters are taking with pride, and I see them and they using social media for the right things. So I know now that I said it, now that's gonna get attacked. You dig it? You know, so I should have kept it back some. But my point is, I want to big it up. I want to big it up because what they're doing is they're showing you that this is the social norm. So they're trying to bring our women back to make this like we have a campaign, make black fathers, what is it? Great again. Make righteous mothers great again. Make righteous dressing. Your dresses and blouse and the Israelite dress and the head wraps, make that great again.
Make modesty
make
great again.
Make modesty great again.
Right.
So this is us fighting against this social conformity to bring us into the abyss of evil. The whole land turning into whoredom, like we was reading earlier. So I just wanted to give kudos to my sister Zuriel and to her whole team and all of the sisters that's involved in that to show the bright side of how sisters are supposed to be. Okay, so I just want to give kudos and give thanks to the Most High and thanks to the Lord for putting the spirit on Deacon Malachi and his family and all of the brothers and the sisters that participate in such righteousness to bringing forth that clothing line. All praise to the Most High. So let us read on.
First Ezra, chapter 5, verse 73.
Yes, sir.
And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions.
Commotions. What are the commotions? Trying to manufacture murder.
Right.
That's an example. Something that happened in some that grocery store or something in
New Jersey.
In New Jersey. They try to manufacture an association with us. Somebody shot somebody in the face. God's been gone from us. Another guy did some craziness. All IUIC is doing this. IUIC put the thoughts. All of that madness is to make you turn away from this and to follow evil. There's something to think about. Commotions and plots and evils. All of this is to sully this truth and to gag us. I want to focus on that word gagging. Gagging. They want to gag the truth. Here we are with suffering. We're feeling we are the voice of the voiceless. Okay, we are speaking up for those who cannot speak or don't or too afraid to speak. We're speaking up for them because their pain is our pain. So as we speak, we're bringing that pain to the Most High. Not necessarily bringing it to you, Esau. We're bringing it to the Most High. We're not necessarily bringing it to the nations. That's another thing I need to make clear. We're making our cries to the Lord. That's what we're doing. We're making our cries to the Lord for the Lord to hear our prayers, for the Lord to hear our supplications, and He heal us.
Right.
That's what we're doing. So that's why we're doing this thing. But our oppressors don't even want us to do that. They don't want us to have any kind of voice to say anything. And like I said before, when you have a whole land of evil and lies, any threat of truth is dangerous.
Right.
We just can't have that. What do you mean speaking up
Right.
and bringing truth? My son might find out about this. My daughters might find out about this. The world might find out about this. This is going to cause a problem for me. I can't keep these riches because I stole them.
Right.
And you might cause these people to want these things back.
They
Go
can't
ahead.
keep their way of life going with us bringing this truth forward.
Right.
Okay, it's going to go against their whole agenda.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's exactly the deal. So now let's get into this book here. Give me the front of this book here, brothers. Can I get it? The front of this book. This is the book called De La Casas. Let's go to the Google. Let's show the page.
Right.
Let's go to the page and so we can know what we're talking about. De La Casas. That one should come up pretty easy. That book is better. No, go to Google. Got to go to Google. Save those pictures. I need those pictures. We're going to read from them. But I want to go to, see, I got to do so much talking and I lose my point that I keep.
What you trying to get the cover?
I'm trying to show the cover so the people know what I'm reading about. De La Casas, The Destruction of the Indies. Okay? I'm trying to keep my flow going. And I got to stop it to bring these points up, to bring up these pictures. I told y'all to bring all of the pictures today. So read that again. These long pauses. Just
There you go. The top one.
read the scripture again.
First Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 73. And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions, they hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived.
So the point that I'm making is that our people have been gagged. They don't want our people to say anything. So the popular commotions, move on up because I ain't seen the book yet. Go. All right, take the one over there in the corner. That's just another one. Drop down one level because y'all ain't bringing it up. Drop down one level. Drop up.
Go up. Go up.
The one that called it, that one
right.
there. Click that one. Okay. Show that book. That's the same book. It's just got a different cover on it. Okay. The point that I was making is that our people are being gagged. Our people are gagged and are unable to speak the truth to power. Okay. This is what we're talking about here. I'm going to give you an example of our people being gagged. This is the book. Show the cover. This is the same book. It's just got a different cover, but this is the book here. Bartolome de las Casas, The Short Account of the Destruction of the Indies. Now let's go to the page that we were talking about before. We're going to read some of that stuff in there. Let me take a look and see what we got. I'll tell you the page that we're going to. Give me the page where they got the brothers hanging before we read. Right there. Let's zoom in. Let's get some of that bottom part. Well, let's show the picture first. Let the people see that. So when we was reading earlier, where it says that conquistadors tortured, burned, tortured, cut up, chopped up, all that, crucified, right? This is what it's talking about here. This is out of this book here. This is from the that book De La Casa's Bartholomew De La Casa's a short account of the destruction of the Indies, meaning of the Native American Indians and Simeon, Ephraim, Gad, Reuben, the tribes of Israel, Northern Kingdom. This is what was going on, okay? A short account as you see at the top of the screen there. And let's move down. Let's get some of the writing. Let's read that. It says, they spared no one. This is what we was basically reading earlier. They spared no one. They erecting specially wide gibbets on which they could string their victims up with their feet just off the ground as they burned them alive. Okay, let's read some of that wording up under there. Come on, let's start reading. They gave order. There was some pictures before this. Let's see, what was the page before that? Let me see something. Hold on. I think I put the pictures up. Give me a second. Give me a second. Y'all can jump in. All right, well, let's start reading. Let's just start reading. Read there.
Read back up for me.
Yeah, hold it. I think you had the page there. Back up. Get that. Click that. Jump down to that bottom part there, that bottom paragraph. Bottom paragraph. Let's zoom down. Okay, let's read this. Yes, let's see what we're going to start at. I hope brothers and sisters, I hope y'all stay with me. Let's see that part where it says the way they normally dealt with the native leaders. You see that part?
Yes,
let's read that.
The way they normally dealt with the native leaders and nobles was to tie them to a kind of griddle consisting of sticks resting on pitchforks, driven into the ground, and then grill them over a slow fire.
This is the truth of what happened, and this is the truth that's being gagged so the people can't say anything.
With the result that they howled in agony and despaired as they died in lingering death.
As they died a lingering death. So as we read on, you're going to find out that they love to hear these screams. I'm still getting to the part about being gagged. Okay, read on.
It once happened that I myself witnessed their grilling of 4 or 5 local leaders in the fashion.
Notice it said leaders. They would do their leaders this way. The chiefs, so you can understand, the leaders, the fathers. They would do that to the pillars of the community. They would do this because they would want the children to see that, to get that image in their mind that we destroyed your power, that we traumatize. That's trauma to those children, to break their spirit. That's the kind of people you're dealing with.
Wow.
Read.
It once happened that I myself witnessed their grilling of 4 or 5 local leaders in this fashion, and I believe they had set up 2 or 3 other pairs of grills alongside so that they might process other victims at the same time.
So they had like a barbecue pit, like a whole parking lot of barbecue pits, just roasting up leaders,
and pulled out another one. Like, this ain't enough.
Exactly.
Right, man.
Go ahead.
Like we gotta be able to do more than this.
Well, exactly. But to show you that they came off their beds plotting this, like we read earlier. They devised iniquity and on their beds. They thought about doing this.
And that's what I was bringing out a little earlier, D. Us, we don't have the spirit to torture people like this.
No.
You know, their spirit ain't right.
No.
Like the scripture say, their spirit ain't upright in them.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
When the poor creatures' howls came between the Spanish commander and his sleep.
So while they were processing them, no, pull it back up, because I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Let's zoom it back in. Let's go back. So basically, we're talking about some of these people where it says with the result. I'm jumping up the paragraph just for a second, because I want y'all to get the full weight of what's being read here. It says with the result. I'm at the paragraph just before the last one, at the middle of it, where it says about the pitchforks. It says with the Jump down. I see you got the cursor. No, brothers. Move the cursor down so the people know where I'm at. Right there. I'm going to just start there. The way they normally dealt with the native leaders and nobles was to tie them to a kind of griddle consisting of sticks resting on pitchforks driven into the ground, and then grill them over a slow fire. A slow fire to produce a lingering death because they wanted the howls and the screams to take long. They enjoy that.
You got to think about it. You burn yourself. You know how quick you...
Right. They said, no, we want it slow.
Imagine being tied up.
Exactly.
You can't move.
That's what they
that
did.
Thing just roasting your skin, your flesh.
Now, as we're reading this, we're not playing any of that rinky-dink music. So now you can actually feel what we're bringing out, okay? Right. So let me get back at it. It says, over a slow fire, with the result that they howled in agony and despair as they died a lingering, prolonged death. That's the point. And then he goes on to say, it once happened that I myself witnessed their grilling of 4 or 5 leaders at the same time, basically. And then I'm going to jump down to the bottom where it says, when the poor creatures howls, meaning their screams and cries. This is the dissenting voices. That's the reason why I'm having this read. When they're dissenting voices against their oppressor. When the poor creature's howls came between the Spanish commander and his sleep. Go ahead. The next part. He what? He gave orders that the prisoners be throttled. This is what's happening with us. Gagged. Be throttled. In other words, we're not going to relieve the fire. We're not going to take you off the grill. We want to keep burning you. We want to keep pumping drugs in your community. We want to keep whoring your women out. We want to keep guns and violence pumped in abortion clinics. We want to keep all of that in your system. We want to keep that in your reach. And we want you to kill each other with it. But when you cry, we don't want to hear you.
We just want to throttle you.
You're the same bastards that we're talking about here. The same kind of people. You have not changed. You have not changed. This is the point. And you so-called blacks and Hispanics, you need to realize what you're dealing with.
Obese.
Right. That's the point. They have not changed. The whole gagging of us is what we're looking at here. They gave orders that the prisoners be throttled. That's gagged where you can't speak. Although you're still being burned, although you're still being killed in the streets, although you're still being shot down, although you're still being pumped out of the communities like you was talking about in D.C., although you're still being pumped in jails. Khalif Browder, like that brother. What did he do? Right. He got mistaken for stealing a book bag.
Right.
And they put him through 3 years of Rikers Island. His mind broke.
Bugged him out.
When he got out, he committed suicide. Here you got the white woman that stole Nancy Pelosi's laptop, trying to sell it to the Russians. Her behind goes on vacation. They don't do nothing for her. Right. That's what I hear. Right. Nothing happened to her. She ain't dead. She ain't being no real thing gonna happen to that woman.
Is she the one that went to Mexico or something?
I don't know. I heard about. Yeah, that the one. Yeah. How the hell she go to Mexico?
So they can't extradite her. Or something.
No. Yeah. Did she go to Mexico? Is that where she's at now?
I think that was
wow. Her. Wow. Well, we'll fact check that because I know y'all gonna be like, no. We got her. We got her. Yeah, that's her. Right?
Yeah, we got it.
But how come they didn't? How come they did not put her ass in jail? How come they didn't? Why they didn't put her through all kind of crap? Right. She made bail and gone. Mm-hmm. If she even if she got picked up, she probably made bail and gone.
Right. And we reading this, and a lot of people we think this happened back then.
No,
this is happening today.
I'm making a comparison to show you how their bloodthirsty mentality and their demeanor is the same thing that's going on now. The gagging of us prevents us from speaking against the evil that we see with our own eyes, that we experience.
Right.
Read that again. It says he gave orders.
He gave orders that
when the cries of them being burned alive, he is a commander. He's in charge of the whole death squad. He's trying to sleep. He's on the top bunk. Can you dig it? Mm-hmm. He's sleeping, and the executioner that's burning the brothers and sisters
having a good time.
Right. But he's saying, "But I can't sleep. I don't want to hear them cry. Stop it." Listen to the maniac that's on the fire. Listen to what he gonna do. Read it again. So he gave orders.
He gave orders that the prisoners were to be throttled.
Notice this. He didn't give orders to take them off the fire.
Nope.
He told them, throttle them. In other words, cut off their voice to speak.
Just put something in their mouth.
Gag them.
Cut off their tongue.
Gag them. Read.
He gave,
That's what throttled mean. Throttled mean to choke, meaning to scale it down, to control the flow, to stop the flow, to slow it down, to attenuate it, so you can understand. Read.
He gave orders that the prisoners were to be throttled. But the man in charge of the execution detail, who was more bloodthirsty than the average common hangman,
go ahead.
I know this identity and even met some relatives of his in Seville. Was loath.
This hangman was loathed.
Was loath to cut short his private entertainment by throttling them.
That was his private entertainment. Listen to the words that's being used. The white man's writing this. This is his private entertainment. It was his private joy to have these brothers burning.
You just sit back
and sitting there and watching them burn. And he was loving the screams. He was loving the howls, but the howls was bothering the man that was trying to sleep. Notice the commander didn't tell him to get him off the fire. He just said, do something. He told him what to do. He said, throttle them. Throttle them. Meaning, in other words, I want the pain to continue, but I don't want to hear it. That's what he's saying. Read. And this is what they call hate speech. Can you dig it? We're reading records, bringing it out, and because we're bringing it out, we are deemed as a hate group. Wow.
And they published this book.
Right, exactly. But again, you reading it. You reading the Bible violently.
Don't be reading me.
Right.
You weren't supposed to be reading it anyway.
Right. They say, you can read the Bible, but you're reading it violently.
Right.
Read.
Was loath to cut short.
So he was mad. He hated it. He didn't want to cut short his private entertainment. Go ahead.
Was loath to cut short his private entertainment by throttling them, and so he personally went round ramming wooden bungs into their mouths to stop them making such a racket.
The racket was them complaining. The racket is us complaining. The racket of us is complaining to the Lord about the injustices and the evil that has happened to the 12 tribes of Israel. Our oppressors don't want that voice to get to God. That's the real command. If you don't want the voice to get to God. So what they want to do, they want to silence us, but at the same time, still oppress us, still kill us, still pump dope on us, still murder us, still line us up in lines and set us up. COINTELPRO and all these evil things that they're doing to us. They still want to continue to do that. But they don't want to relieve the condition, but we want to do these things to you, but we don't want you to speak on it.
Right.
We want to gag you. Go ahead.
To stop them making such a racket and deliberately stoke the fire so that they would take just as long to die as he himself chose.
So wait a minute. Let's think about the natural born killer instinct in this person here. Since birth, they've been thinking about killing.
Right.
This guy said, listen, he was so upset that he had to cut his fun short that he stoked the fire to make it last as long as he could. And rammed wooden bungs in their mouths, tied it up so that the screams would be. It's even more satisfying to them to hear a person trying to scream. That's some serial killer type of stuff there. They actually tie somebody up and watch them squirm, and they get a kick out of that. They get a kick out of that. That's the kind of regime that we're under. And when we complain about it, when we read the scriptures and asking the Lord to deliver us from this evil, they say you're a hate group. Well, that's natural. Wow. That's natural for them to do that. But I'm just making a point that this whole media circus, to gag this truth, is about they don't want this truth to get to the Most High, for the Most High to redeem us. Read on. So that was it, right? That was it. That was it. All right. So let's see. What's my next piece? About truth. How much time? We've run out of time. Give me my last clip, and then we'll section off for the next week. I'm going to talk about truth. Go back to my pictures. Go back to my pictures. Brothers, y'all doing an okay job tonight. All praise to the Most High. I just, just wanted to move a little more smoother with getting the pictures that I want. Let's go to the part about the tyrant. The tyrant. Let me open up the pictures so I can't see the stuff too small. Okay, so we got to go back and get the stuff that I want then. Go back. You didn't bring all the pictures in. Okay, no, the pictures are there. Go back weeks before. I posted it. I gave it to you. Say something.
So, brothers and sisters, happy Sabbath to y'all. Hope y'all enjoying, again, the Bible, the book of our fathers. As y'all can see, we're going into some pretty in-depth information, okay? Pretty in-depth information, some good stuff. I don't know about y'all, but, we hear these things, and each time it comes out, more and more you start getting a deeper understanding and seeing the minds of the enemies that we're against.
Go up,
go up. And then not only that, seeing how, how it has really affected us this very day, okay? A lot of our people don't realize how bad we've been jacked up, through this, we talking about the media.
Go up some more.
The social media. I mean, these things, man, play a pivotal
still going down.
point in how,
Let's
we
go
operate and maneuver as a people, away from the Most High God.
Right.
Okay. Instead of, returning to the Most High God, how it's affecting even what we doing when we go out and teaching in the streets, now we can get a better understanding of the minds of our people, why they're so messed up like they are. Okay. And it puts us in a position to have more compassion and how we take much time to try to bring the understanding to our people about what this Bible is talking about, but they're fighting through all this crafty counsel that they've been used through the social media and especially through the school system. Okay, as little kids, they fighting through all that to what we're trying to show them, right here out of the Bible, and it just don't compute to them right off the bat,
Hey, Cap.
So it's a battle.
Cap, so we just read in that book, right, that they stoked us, they gagged us.
Right, exactly.
Our people were screaming because of the fire. We screaming. That's what we're doing right now. We're screaming that let's make modesty great again. Let's make the black man great again.
Right.
Let's make the
marriages great again.
Marriages great again.
Right.
But what are they doing? They got their popular persuasions like we seen in that other video with Montel, I believe it was, Ricky Lake. And then all of a sudden the audience member stood up and she's like, John 3:16. That's that popular persuasion.
Right. Hey, read. Why deep them looking for that? Read.
Well, I already sent it to
Revelation.
him. I found it and sent it to him.
Okay.
But no, go ahead and bring
read
it up.
Revelation 12:16. Go back into what we've been talking about.
Revelations chapter 12 and verse
16.
16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth.
So the earth could be the Bible.
Right.
The earth could be the books that Deep bringing out.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Read it from the top again. The truth. Read it from the top again.
And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood.
The lies from the media.
Right.
Okay. Read on.
Which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Okay.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
So that's going into them trying to gag us. Okay. So they wroth with us bringing this Bible out. Read on.
How dare you try to fix your communities?
Right.
Right.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Okay. Read on.
Which keep the commandments of God.
What's wrong with keeping God's commandments?
What's wrong with that?
It goes against your way of life. Evil. Read on.
Right.
And have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
That's it.
All right, all praise to the Most High. Now let's get my pictures up there. Coming out of the same book, Puerto Rico and the Flame of Resistance. This is another part. We're gonna start from the top. I'm gonna just go through this real quick. With time running, we're gonna read this whole entire thing here. Okay, this is talking about a truth being gagged. The truth is being gagged. It's a threat, like I talked about earlier. Truth has to be crushed in order for a society of lies to continue. So the truth have to be gagged. You got it, Nishon? Do you see it? You
Yes,
want
sir.
to bring it out?
Yes, sir.
Read it.
There is an old Latin American legend about a foreign tyrant who tried to bury the truth.
Gag the truth. Go ahead.
This tyrant used arms to conquer another nation. He enslaved the people and forced them to work for his benefit. This tyrant had ceaseless drive
for more wealth and more power. Go ahead.
He was cruel and selfish, but he was not yet all powerful because the truth stood in his way.
The truth stood in his way. The Israelites are standing in the way of this evil. Go ahead.
The truth followed him everywhere and revealed his cruelty and selfishness.
Meaning the Bible. The Bible is bringing all this information out. The Bible is revealing all the evil. Go ahead.
So the tyrant decided that it was absolutely necessary to bury the truth once and for all.
Read.
Then he would seize all the wealth and power.
That's the whole point of social conformity. Read. The tyrant ordered.
The tyrant ordered the people to give up the truth. He sent his soldiers into the land to gather the truth. Some citizens refused to surrender what was rightfully theirs.
This Bible belongs to us.
And they were shot or jailed.
And that's what they did to us. Go ahead. And now they lie on us. Go ahead.
When the soldiers returned, the tyrant stored the truth in his brain.
They're trying to handle it, trying to go to church. They're trying to go to church, talking about, yes, Jesus loved me for the Bible. Then when the Bible comes out and all of a sudden they sick. When they find out what the truth is talking about, now they're talking about some shit, I go kill myself. Now I ain't going to tell you to do nothing like that. Read on.
Oh, man. It made him dizzy.
It made him dizzy when they found out what this Bible was really talking about. Read.
Late one night, he crept into the jungle. When he was far away from the castle, he dug a deep hole in the ground. It was hard labor because he had never worked before.
Read.
Then the tyrant cupped his hands around his mouth and as loud as he could, shouted the truth to the bottom of the dark hole.
I'm going to get rid of this truth. I'm going to bury it in this dirt. Read.
The tyrant could hear the truth rumbling at the very bottom of the hole.
This is what's going on with us. We're waking up, even though they're trying to suppress and kill us, the truth is rumbling around among us. Go ahead.
But before the truth could escape, the tyrant threw earth into the hole as fast as he could. He packed the earth down and stomped on it with his boots.
Meaning, I'm going to make sure this truth never come out. I'm going to bury it for good. Read.
Now at last the truth is buried forever, he said, brushing the soil from his robes. Mm-hmm. He was very pleased with himself.
I got rid of that truth. I done made them Israelites. I call them a hate group. They ain't never going to get out of this trap that I got them in. Read.
On the journey back to the castle, he planned new wars of conquest.
Push more dope, put the women in pants, sell the Planned Parenthood, all the stuff that they got going on now, especially with this new administration that's getting ready to go down now. Read. They got new plans on the books, getting ready to roll heavy. Go ahead.
The foreign tyrant didn't know it, but two peasants watched him dig the hole and bury the truth. When the tyrant left the jungle, they emerged from hiding. These two peasants got their shovels and began to work. The peasants had always worked hard, so they were soon at the bottom of the dark pit. Mm-hmm. However, all that remained of the truth was a small seed.
A small seed. The only thing we knew was Christ is black. That's all it took. Or Deuteronomy 28 chapter. The rest of the Bible ain't even come clear to a lot of us yet. Right. I'm talking about in terms of us waking up. Now the truth is going crazy all over the place. Now they're going frantic, trying to stop it. Read.
Gently, the peasants lifted the seed of truth and planted it as they would plant a corn seed. Mm-hmm. Then they went home to sleep.
We're going to let this truth marinate on the brothers and sisters' minds. Read.
That night, the foreign tyrant didn't sleep well.
The demons said, hey, the truth is out there. You better wake up and try to go back into them neighborhoods, put them liquor stores up there, put them crack, put more churches, get these preachers, T.D. Jakes and the rest of them, get up there and push them lies. Go ahead.
That night, the foreign tyrant didn't sleep well. At midnight, he woke suddenly with a fear that the truth had emerged from the dark hole.
That's what they seeing. They hearing the brothers marching in the purple and all that, waking our people up. We ain't selling dope no more. Some of us used to sell drugs. We take care of our wives and all that. They say, oh no. Go ahead.
From a dark hole. That it was alive in the land. The first thing the next morning, he walked into the jungle. From the distance, he could see that on the exact spot where he had buried the truth, there was a strong and beautiful tree. Moreover, there was a crowd of peasants and machetes, shovels, and holes. Mm-hmm. The tyrant's heart pounded against his chest.
They are afraid. They're scared to death that this truth is coming out. Read.
He was afraid. Even as he walked toward the tree, it grew taller and taller.
The tree is talking about this Bible, the truth, the understanding of this Bible. The water's rising. That's the point. That's what this is talking about. Read it.
The peasants raised their tools and let out a cry. The tyrant could see that the roots of the tree went deep into the earth.
In other words, it's getting harder for me to gag them. This truth is getting out there. Go ahead.
Deep into the rich earth. The trunk of the tree was too wide to put his arms around, and it was branches were long and powerful.
Read.
It was spring.
Mm-hmm.
There were millions of budding branches, each one distinct, and
right.
yet they were one and the same.
Meaning this truth is coming out, and all of us are starting to recognize it. Come on.
The buds,
the tribes are coming together. The different. They said that the one distinct, yet they were the same. The 12 tribes of Israel. Us coming together. Go ahead.
The buds unfurled. They became bright green leaves. Suddenly the wind blew through the tree, and together all the leaves sang an anthem to the truth.
Go ahead.
The people cheered.
We are the Israelites. Go ahead.
With the truth echoing across the jungle, they raised their shovels, machetes, and hoes and drove the foreign tyrant from their native land.
You see that? So that's what they're afraid of. So that's what this truth is going to do. What's the next page say? The next page over there. I think that was about it, right? What it says on the next page with the tree on it. Just click to the next one. What'd that say? So that was it. We read it all, right? Yeah, that was it. That was good. So all praise to the Most High. We got that information out there. I want to make sure I got that in before this one ended. But the point here that what I wanted to show you was that it's as the media continues to try to gag this truth, the Most High is going to bring this truth out regardless. Okay, so brothers and sisters, we're going to be back next week. Captain Sarai and the brothers, let's sign out and let's bring up what we got to bring in and let the brothers and sisters know what's happening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shalom again, Israel. Happy Sabbath. Hope y'all enjoyed the Bible, the book of our fathers. Remember, don't neglect to give your alms. For those who would like to give alms, fill out an envelope and place it in your local assembly alms box. Okay? To give alms online, donate to IUIC Concord via PayPal at iuic.concord.nc@israelunite.org. Also, continue to donate to the Booster Club via PayPal at iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. And we greatly appreciate your donations and contribution to help us push this truth.
Okay, all praise to the Most High. Also, we want to send our prayers and blessings to all our brothers and sisters that may be suffering from illness or even spiritual illnesses or things that's going on with them. We ask for the Lord to bless and heal them and bring them speedily and whole and restore them to great health as commanded in your scriptures, Lord. We ask you that you bless us all and take care of the newborn babies and those that are sick among us. Okay, we ask for your blessings to bless us and protect us. Happy Sabbath, my brothers and sisters, and we'll see you next week, Lord willing. And we say shalom.
All right.
Good night.
Hey, shalom, Israel.
Shalom, Israel.
Christ bless.
Bless.